Hi everybody, name's Chuck Lafferty, and today we're going to do a little video on home deer processing of your deer burger. How do you make a good burger? Some people say I don't like deer meat or it's too gamey. I'm going to show you, not that I just came in from hunting, this is just one of my shirts, always wear protection. My parents always told me that. Now that I think about it, did they want me to carry a gun? Or did you just not want me to pay a child support payment? But either way, let's get back to the video. People say deer meat's gamey or I don't like the flavor. Well, today what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to make some delicious deer burgers from the comfort of your home. You don't have to go to a processor. Simple, easy tools. Everything I use fits in a simple, see if you can see it over there. That's my box that my grinder comes in. Everything I use fits in that. My grinder fits in there. My scale fits in there. My wrapping paper. My hand press. And what's going to happen at the end of this video is you're going to learn how I make burgers at home that are delicious and well liked by everybody. Simple process. Again, thank you for watching, and here's a quick sneak peek at the finished product. That right there is 40 already prepared burgers ready to eat. And from what I got left in the pan, it looks like a little over halfway. So maybe not another 40, but probably another 30. So I'll probably end up with 70 to 75 pre-made burgers at the end of this all. And I'm going to show you how you can do it too. So again, Chuck Lafferty. Hope you enjoy this video on how I make my deer burgers. Enjoy. Hello everyone. A couple of people have been asking me, how do you make your burgers taste so good? And how do you make your sausage? So I'm just going to do a quick little YouTube video here on how I prepare my deer meat and how I make my burgers and how I make my sausage. So I got a lot of stuff. Deer meat's already been processed, cut up. I've been sitting, my deer is aged for over a week. Probably not as necessary if you don't want big cuts of meat. If you're looking more towards, roast and steaks, you want to age it a little longer. If you're just doing burger and sausage, I think you can get away with maybe 2 or 3 days. Give it time for the meat to break down. Keep it in an ideal temperature. My meat right now has been, we've had some good outdoor temperatures, so it's probably in the 40-degree mark. I wouldn't let it get past 45 into 50. You're getting a little risky, but normally I'm in a temporary home, but otherwise I have a refrigerator in my shed that I keep just for aging deer meat. It's an old refrigerator. I plug it in deer season. I can butcher a deer, put the quarters in there, age them for a week or two, and at the end of a week or two I can start cutting down the meat and as I want, make burgers, make steaks, or even maybe work one night cutting the meat and then be prepared the next night to do my grinding. It doesn't all have to happen in the same day. I have that availability of having that refrigerator that, like I said, it's a constant 36 to 38 degrees, give or take a degree, perfect aging. So what I'll do here is I'll show you a shot of what I do preliminary. I do go to the butcher and order pig fat. I prefer pig fat over beef fat. Some people do ask for beef fat, but we really don't eat beef fat. So I'm not really sure why so many people get beef fat added with their deer burger. Doesn't taste that well. Now you take pork fat, pig belly bacon. Can't get nothing better than that. I've heard different things on that also. Can you put pieces of deer meat, or I mix my deer fat with bacon? I know some people do it. Some people say there's nothing the matter with that. Me, on the other hand, I've also read articles where it said it's not good to put cured meat which like a bacon is. It's already got salt, it's a preservative, it's already been preserved, and now you're mixing that with raw meat. So some butchers won't add bacon to your deer meat, even if you ask them. So I don't know what the rules and scientific dilemma is of adding bacon. I've added bacon before, liked it. Depends on how much. I don't think I like 100% bacon. I'd probably go with pig fat and maybe just a little bit of bacon if you want to get that smoky taste or bacon taste. I didn't find any issues with it, but like I said, I don't know the real parameters. But what I'll do is I'll show you how I buy my pig fat. I purchase it in big slabs. I prefer nice big white slabs. And I'll turn your camera around here and give you a little view of how I prepare it and how I get my meat ready. Let me switch the camera around here. Okay, here's a shot of how I prepare my deer meat. I cut my deer meat in pretty nice big slabs so that they can easily go down the choke end of the grinder, and the skinny and the longer the better. As soon as you drop that in there, if you can get the auger to start grabbing it, you can just let go with your fingers and the thing's going to go right on through. And I also do the same with my pork. My pork has all been trimmed to finger-sized pieces. Here's a pre-made bag, as you can see. I've cut it up, packaged it up into between 5 and 10 pound packs. It's already pre-sliced into finger-sized pieces. So what I can do now is I stack the top of my grinder with an assortment of pig fat and meat. And then I'm going to turn the grinder on. You won't be able to hear me, but I'll show you a real quick couple minutes here of how I mix the two together. I usually put a couple pieces of meat and then just a piece of fat. If I see some of my deer meat already has some fat on it, I try to cut off as much as possible, but sometimes, you know, you can get a bright red piece, then you also have some pieces that already have fat. So if I'm running some pieces through that might have a little bit of fat on them, well, let's get that hair out of there. Nobody likes hair in their food. Anything that might have little pieces of fat might slow down on adding fat. So I'll turn it on here and just show you a real quick run of me doing a little bit of deer meat. And then this is what you can see is coming out. You'll see some heavier fat when you first put it in, but in general, I'm probably getting I try to go for about a 20% fat, maybe even 25%, since deer meat is so lean. You get that extra moisture in it, so that's all depending on, you know, how you like your meat. So this is the first run through. I'll run all my meat through once. I'll run all my meat through on one-time deal, and then after the meat's done once, as you could see your fat, you could see your meat. What I might do is I'll put a couple packs away with just the one run, and I'll package it in 2 to 4 pound packs. That way when I do my sausage, I usually do a 10-pound sausage run. And what I do is I'll take pork and do the same thing. I already went to the butcher, the grocery store, and your best time is Christmas, New Year. What's everybody eating? Pork and sauerkraut. You know, pork and sauerkraut. I'll show up a couple days after New Year's, that $5, $6, $7 chunk of meat, $3, $4, $5 a pound. I just got big pork shoulders for $1.30 a pound. And actually, I think it was just over $1 a pound. Might have been $1.03 or something. So almost $1 a pound for pork. And usually a good roast or whatever you find, make sure it's got some fat. You don't need a lot, but it's got the pork meat. Because I do prefer my sausage patties to be basically pork. I want them to be sausage. Some people go half and half, or they'll call their deer meat sausage just because they put spices in it and they put a mixture of pork fat in it. I kind of want mine to be pork. So what I'll do is I'll do 6 pounds of my prepared pork, and then I'll mix in 4 pounds of deer meat, and that'll result in 10 pounds of sausage. And my deer meat already has some pork fat in it. So with the deer meat added to the pork, once I put the spices in, I'll show you a video of that later. That's how I make, I do a batch of hot Italian sausage patties, which are really tasty, and I like a little zing to my sausage. Don't like a plain breakfast sausage, so I use a product by LEM. I'll show it when I do the sausage. It's a hot Italian seasoning, and you can vary on how much of that you add. You can follow the recipe. It's a little strong if you follow the recipe, or you can cut back on a tablespoon or two and just give it some little bit of zing, but nothing to knock your socks off. So I'm going to continue through with this. Once I get the whole batch done, like I said, I'll probably put this first grind, put away 4, maybe 1 or 2 4-pound packs for sausage, and then I'll prepare my meat for the second grind, where I season my patties prior to making my patties. So, but because that's going to go through a second time after the seasoning, that's when you get your second grind, your final grind. So that's why when I'm getting ready to do my pork, I only do it once. Because after I add my pork and my seasoning, then when I run it through, that will be the second grind on the pork sausage patties. So for now, I'm going to continue with the rest of this, complete it. Show you my final batch of first grind, and then I'll separate what I want to save for pork, and then I'll prepare my meat for seasoning and second grind for making my hamburger patties. So get back to you in a minute. Okay, I finished grinding my meat. I'm going to flip the camera around and show you a quick shot of the finished product, and then I'll package my, like I said, I'll package my first grind through, a couple packs away for sausage, and then I will start a little video on seasoning and what I do. I pre-season and pre-make all my burgers so that they're readily available. You can just pull them out of the freezer and start cooking them. They're pre-made, pre-packaged, pre-seasoned. You don't have to do a thing to them, and everybody I know says they love them. There's also another little device here that comes with the grinder. Not exactly sure what it is. Oh yeah, I do know what it is. It's made to put down the hole and you know, push the meat. So I just wanted to show you the importance. I just did this whole batch of meat and never once used this device. So if you do a little pre-thinking, pre-cutting of your meat, nice, skinny, slim pieces. They can be as long as you want. They can be a foot long. Mine are probably 6 to 8 or 10 inches long. Same with the pig fat. finger-sized pieces. Just take your time. Just drop them in there, and the grinder will eat them up. I've seen many video online of people just forcing their meat down that hole with that plunger. Number one, it's hard on the grinder. It's hard, ramps up your amperage, burns up your grinder. And in the past, I've done it. I'll admit it. And it's actually hard sometimes to pull that plunger back out because it creates a vacuum. So why fight? Prep your meat correctly, cut it to the right size, and I'm going to turn the video around and show you my finished product. Here is my first grind through. As you can see, pretty much salt and pepper the whole way through. You're going to see some spots where I probably pushed a piece of fat through on that one. But in general, it looks to me like I have a good 20% mixture. And lastly, when I'm finished up with my last couple pieces of meat, I'll throw a little burger up there and put that through just to make sure I get my meat. And then you'll actually end up with this consistency. So that's what a first grind will look like. And then this is what your second grind will look like. You can see it's very consistently ground together. You can't see the fat compared to the meat as you can in the first grind. That's why I always go for a second grind. So I will put this away and we'll get ready to separate my sausage meat, and we'll get back online and we'll do our seasoning. Okay everybody, seasoning time. We got our meat. Tossed a little in just to give you a little idea. Here's where making your burgers can become your own. Just a little shot of what might go in here. A little oregano. You could use some brown sugar, maple seasoning. You can use a butcher's blend and something like that. Or a steak seasoning, lemon pepper. That's a Caribbean jerk. Cajun burger. Another mix. Basil leaves, garlic powder. Keyword there, powder. Don't use salt. People can salt their food later. Worcestershire, paprika if you want a little kick to it. Everybody's favorite, adobo, and crushed peppers. Again, all right. Again, this is where you can make your own burgers, whatever flavors you like. You can try a mix. You can try just minimal spices if you want. Every year, I started out little spices. Next year, I got a little heavier on spicers. I did get a deer earlier in the seasoning, and I found out some of those burgers were a little hot. So on this batch, I'm going to cut back on anything hot. And when I package and label these, I'm going to label these burgers maybe non-hot, something just to identify them. And also I usually make a couple different flavors. I'll make what I call my general seasoned burgers, and when I open up the freezer they say burgers, maybe a 6-pack or 4-pack seasoned burgers. That's just a regular one I'm going to show you first, and then I might pull some aside and go more heavily on like the Cajun seasoning that I showed you. I'll go real heavy on Cajun seasoning, open up the freezer, pull out some Cajun burgers. My wife being from Maryland, of course, everything Old Bay. Crabs in Old Bay, shrimp in Old Bay, potato chips in Old Bay, so why not Old Bay burgers? So I'll pull a certain amount of deer meat aside, 5 pounds, 7 pounds, and make some Old Bay burgers where I just mix some multi-spice, but just my main ingredient there will be the Old Bay. Again, I mentioned I don't put any salt in any of these. Some of these pre-mixed flavors already do have a slight bit of salt in them. That's one reason. Your Worcestershire, or if you add soy sauce, it's going to be salty. So I try to really limit eliminate how much salt I mix in with my seasoning. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just show you a little bit here of what I do. Little bit of oregano. Oregano is a pretty strong spice, so we don't want to use a lot of that. Some brown sugar. Little butcher's blend. Shot of lemon pepper, not much. It's that Caribbean. Maybe just a shot of Cajun. Quick dash. Parsley flakes. I do like to taste the parsley in my burgers. Shot of basil. Garlic. Everybody's got to have garlic. Don't go too strong on that garlic though, or your friends won't like you. Worcestershire. Again, don't want to put a lot of liquids in there. I'm going to put a little, just a touch of smoked paprika in here. My wife's not high on smoky flavors, so I'm going to not put too much smoke in there. Just a very touch of adobo, because that's a mixture. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what the meat looks like. Here's the meat. Oh, I forgot one of the main ingredients. Pepper. I like pepper. You can go with a ground pepper, shake pepper, anything what's easy. And one thing, people might be looking at that saying, wow, that's a lot of spices. But actually, after doing this a few years, it's not. Now the key part is you stir it all up. Bring the bottom of your pan up top. Try to reach to the bottom. Roll it over. As you roll it, try to stir it. Make sure you do get the bottom of the pan. You want to get the stuff on the bottom, roll it up to the top. Stir it all around. And now what do we have? Well, for the most part, it just looks like regular burger again. Well, nobody likes regular burger. So what do? We're going to do it again. Another touch of oregano. A little touch of, what is this one? Brown sugar bourbon mix. Butcher's blend. Again, this is a blended, so it's already got some parsley. It's already got some oregano. It's already got this, that, and the other thing. Shot of lemon pepper. Give you that citrusy flavor to it. Let's see here. Caribbean Jerk's almost empty, so we'll just empty that bottle out because, you know, why put away a bottle that's half full? Just empty it right on out. Touch of Cajun again, just a touch. Again, want to be careful on watching what you're doing so that you don't grab the wrong thing and overdo it and ruin your whole entire batch. Especially with something like oregano. Oregano is a very strong spice, so you don't want to go heavy on something that as powerful as oregano. Lavender, I've put lavender in it already. Again, the garlic salt, choke on my words there, garlic powder. Light on the garlic powder. We will hit it one more time with just a little bit of Worcestershire. You don't want to go crazy and make this stuff real sticky. It's hard on the grinder. And barely going to touch it with any more peppers. Again, now that's fully coated. Second fully coated batch. Do back, same thing. Roll it all around. Mix it as much as possible. Stir it around. That gets all the spices in between all the little chunks of meat. So what you don't want is you don't want to bite into a burger and get a mouthful of garlic or a mouthful of oregano. So I do a pretty good stirring of this. Not just rolling it, but actually trying to break the little pieces up here. And trying to stir them in so that you can barely see the spices. That's the key part. Well, take in mind, we've doused this thing twice with spices. And now as I look at this meat, you can barely see some of the spices in it. Camera kind of looks to me like you can see spices, but actually looking at the meat, all I see is red meat with some white fat. I can hardly see my spices, and that's the key part. You don't want to see the spices. Alright, looks like she's ready. And one thing I mentioned earlier, I pull some aside. What you got there, they're my 2-pound packets. I'll mark them 2 pounds regular deer meat, no spices. In case you want to make tacos, make a pot roast, make some shepherd's pie. I always have a bunch of packs of 2 pound. 1 pound to me is a little bit of a waste. We hardly ever cook with 1 pound of meat, so I go 2 pounds. And then they can be used in other recipes that require just regular hamburger with no spices. And there's one thing I want to touch upon again. If you look at your meat and it looks way too red, this is a point we're going to go into second grind. We're going to go into that second grind phase now, where we're going to run it through the grinder for the second and final time. If your meat appears to be too red and you think it's going to be a little dry, or I do want to add a little bit of fat, this has happened to me before where I just looked at it and said it just looks a little red. I want to add fat, but I don't want those big chunks. What I'll do then is I might take my chunks of fat that I pre-prepared, and now what I might do is dice them up in real small cubes. So as I'm running this through the second time, I'll just slightly add a cube here and there through the whole process. That way I can increase my fat content slightly, but not dramatically where you're going to see big chunks of white fat pushing through with the burger that you're going to have to mix in later. So just a reminder, if you think you need to add a little bit, you can. But don't do it in the beginning because you can't sit there and pick the fat out. That's not as easy. So, you know, after doing this quite a few times, just by looking at my meat, I know how it's going to turn out. I know how juicy my burgers are going to be. So, by the look of it, I can see I got a good 20 to 25% as I mix them together. And I know I'm going to end up with a quality product. I've watched other videos, interesting, lots of stuff on YouTube. I mean, if you want to go technical, you know, this is Backyard's Redneck Kitchen, you know, grinding. I've seen it where they take the burger out, they're very precise, they do all the meat first, weigh all the meat, separate the fat, grind the fat separate, which is kind of a hard process. You got to have your fat very cold, almost frozen, to push through the grinder correctly. And then they'll get the calculators out or math in your head and get a certain 20%, 25%. You know, you got this much meat, 14 pounds times 20% equals, you know, 6.9.2 grams of fat. That ain't happening. And if you're younger and you're using that new math, I don't know how in the hell you'd figure it out. I don't know. I can't figure out the like 2 plus 2 in that new math, and taking 20 steps to figure out that equals 4. But we won't get into that new math. But again, if you want to be that precise and make a recipe up that you want to follow, some people are like that. Some people are anal. I'm a different anal. I just go off of what I know from experience. So I'm going to turn this off here now, and I'm going to run this through the second time. I might give you a quick shot as I'm grinding, just to show you it is harder once the meat's already ground up to go through the grinder, where it could bind up. One small thing I might do is on the down tube, every now and then through the process, I might spray a shot of Pam down in there. That helps the burger slide down through, because as you're grinding and grinding, that fat's going to build up on the side of the grinder, and it is going to slow down the meat from wanting to drop down the tube easily. So every now and then I might just give it a shot of Pam easily. But the key part when I do show that view is just watch. I'm just doing little tiny pinches. Let the grinder work. If you try to cram it and cram it and cram it, you end up fighting the grinder. Your arms are sore. You're trying to push the ramrod. And it's what I call battling the burger. I don't want to battle my burger. I'd rather stand here and just take little cat paws, I call them, and I just put little pinches down through the grinder, pinch by pinch. I'll give you a couple seconds of that, and if you just take your time, do that slowly, that grinder will just push it straight through easily, and you won't have to do that battling that I mentioned. So we'll get back to grinding here and continue on. Okay, just showing you real quick here. This is the second grind. We're getting through the grinder. Our first batch is up top here. You can see it's real loose. And it's going to get a little loud, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you a couple seconds of how I put it through my grinder and keep it moving. And one of the key parts is as I stuff, notice when I stop for a minute and give it a second, because I'm letting the grinder do its thing. And then I'll restart the grinder. I don't really stop it, but then I'll shove more meat in. But basically, don't rush your grinder. All finished up with my burger, and we're going to go over and we're going to set up to start pressing burgers. I'll show you everything. I'll lay everything out, show you what I use, the products I purchase. A couple things came up while I was grinding that I just want to go over. Some people say, how big a grinder do you need? You know, how much money do I need to spend? I'm not rich. You know, I don't do a lot of deer. I take 2 to 3 deer a year, which normally provides my family throughout the whole year if I'm lucky enough. Maybe even afford me to hand away a couple of my packs of burgers to my friends that love them so much and ask me for them. So usually with that many deer, I can produce enough burgers to hand a few out and, spread the wealth, feed the hungry. But a couple other questions. How much do I need to spend? I have had a smaller grinder. Earlier in my life, I had a hand grinder. I hand ground my meat for years. That's a workout. But I'll show you a picture. I'll turn the camera around and a few things I want to go over about the grinder. I use a LEM grinder made by Bass Pro Shops. I stepped up. One thing you want to look at is the wattage. Some have real small wattage. Of course, they're going to be your cheaper brands. This one, I want to say I might have paid about $240, $260 for. I found out I can push a lot more meat through it efficiently. As you saw, it ate the meat and fat up like nothing. When it comes to the burger part, when you're on your second grind, that can sometimes you have to slow down a little bit. And as I was grinding, I do also recall just after I purchased this grinder, they did came out with a new auger wheel. I'll show you mine, but they did actually update their auger wheel to leave a space in there, and that might actually eliminate the issue I'm having to where I have to pinch and slowly feed in my burger. So I never went out and spent the additional $100 just for an auger wheel. Didn't feel it was necessary. Maybe sometime I'll have some spare money and give it a try. But maybe that new auger wheel, you might be able to shove in that meat as fast as you can, and it might just eat it right up. I will admit, I did have to use it once. I got overzealous and wasn't watching how fast I put it in, and I did have to use Mr. Plunger once through that entire, say, probably 20, 30 pounds of meat. But other than that, take your time. Grinder went right through. So I'm going to turn the camera around, just show you a couple things. I'm going to show you the finished product and what I achieved. Here we go. This is the model grinder I have. Again, like I said, it's made by Bass Pro Shops, made by LEM. It's a 779, 250 watt. Sometimes they go by horsepower. Going over here to my finished product. One thing nice I mentioned too about when you're pinching the meat, you can feel for if any kind of gristle or bone might have slipped through. When I pulled my auger wheel off, I want to show you that. One thing that came to mind. Look what I found. I did find a small piece of bone. Might have been from the shot that slipped through my whole process till the end, and that was caught behind my auger wheel. But one thing I want to do is I want to show you this wheel. Look at that. Clean, both sides. No gristle. Hardly anything on that wheel. I'll be able to put that under a faucet and blow those holes right through. I have a friend of mine who says he can't have pork fat, or he prefers to stay away from pork fat due to heart medication, and he goes out and he purchases store-bought hamburger, and he mixes 50% hamburger in with the 50% deer meat. It's what he prefers. I'm not going to mock the guy, but I actually did grind a burger for him one season, and we had to take this wheel off 3 times and unclog the gristle and sinew and cartilage that got stuck in, and I had to toothpick the holes open. So you want to be careful what you buy from a store. I did it in my younger years, work at a small grocery store, and that's just a little grinder there. Now they got a grinder that's the size of a shopping cart, and it could push a small cat, dog, maybe even a goat through it, and it will grind it up. So a store's not in it to make profit. I mean, to lose profit. So, You know, I find sometimes I really feel that they will push gristle and anything that'll go through it, fat, and that's why when I make a burger and it starts out at 5 inches or this size, let's just say I made a burger that size. When I get done cooking it, my burger is that size. Less maybe 1/8 inch, quarter if you're lucky. People say, well, why when I make a burger, I make it 6 inches round and then it comes out looking like this, 3 inches round. That's because of all the gristle and fat that's put in a store-bought beef, and that all melts away when you put it on your frying pan or gas grill, and it shrinks. Shrinkage is due to all the additional products and fat that's in your burger. So when you're producing your own quality homemade burger, you know the product you're getting. I know I have good fat. I know I have good meat. If you can see the color, it's not really orange like store-bought burger. It's got a slight orange tint, but it's basically red meat. It's more reddish than orange. And one key part here is I'm going to zero in on the auger goes on the end here, and then this blade pushes against it, and that grinds the burger. I'm now going to pull this off and show you. This is the only piece. That's all I got left out of producing 30, 40 pounds of meat. That's all the sinew that passed through, or gristle. Small, like I said, I can hold it in 2 fingers, and I can now throw that away. The rest, all quality burger, ready to be made into patties. So that's our next step. I'll see you at the patty table. Hello, welcome back. Got everything cleaned up. Grinder took a step. It's nice to actually, after you grind the meat, you don't want it to get too warm. So what I did was I stuck it outside. We got a beautiful day outside today. Probably in say deep 30s, maybe 38, 39 degrees. Perfect temperature. I got my 2-pounders sitting outside. I'll be wrapping them up later in freezer paper. I do everything. I used to go with the vacuum bags. They actually seem to have a little bit of cost involved with the freezer bags. So, and then some of them leak, and I get some freezer burn. One thing I've noticed is if I do saran wrap tight and freezer paper, it's more economical, it's cheaper, and I've had meat in the freezer. Normally my meat lasts a year. By the time I'm eating my last pack or two, or deer season comes along and it's time to try to put one in the freezer, I'm working on that last 1 or 2 packs left in the freezer. I might have ran out of meat, or I might have ran out of regular burger, and I only have a couple burgers left, but you know, it seems to have my timing right. I know how many deer I need to feed my family, and this is one of the next steps. Like I said, I finished cleaning up. My burger's been sitting outside, keeping it chilled. One thing I do want to emphasize is when you do clean that grinder, don't be afraid, throw a little chlorine in there. You want to make sure you don't build up any bacteria while it's stored. So I do put a little Clorox in there, clean everything real well. And then one little extra shot. Everything's pretty much, I guess, like a stainless steel. I put the auger back together with the head. And like I said, the head blew right out. Meat blew right out with just a sprayer nozzle. Didn't have to get any toothpicks out, pick any gristle and grind out. That just shows the quality of meat and good quality of fat. Cleaned everything up, and then I just gave it a quick shot of Pam. Your regular Pam spray for non-stick surfaces. It's a good lubricant. I sprayed my auger, sprayed my nozzle, and sprayed the threads so that I won't have any bindage. And everything's put away, and now we're going to move on to the next step. One thing, again, another LEM product that I like buying. Used to get a lot of supplies. They're not sponsoring me in any way, but Bass Pro does carry some of these. but I did find out Bass Pro switched brands, and their sheets maybe aren't as long. That's one of the key things I look for. This is a, what's it say, 9 or 8 inch by 10 3/4. And this thing's stretched out. That length is the key thing to me. You need the length, because what you're going to do is you're going to put a burger in half, and then you're going to fold it over. So your finished product is going to be in half. So anything shorter than this 10 inches, I just don't feel is going to work for me. I also have a, don't know who made this one. I think I bought this offline. This is a single home, just a single press. They make double presses and all kinds of fancy presses. This one's actually shown with a single sheet underneath. Some are made for a sheet on the bottom, a sheet on top, and then you press your burger. One of the key things about this is this depth right here. You can set that depth by turning this knob right here. Unscrew it, turn this knob up or down. It changes the size of your wheel, the depth of your wheel, and then you lock it down. Of course, my burgers, I'm probably making bigger than quarter pounders, but not quite half pounders. So we're going to say between a quarter and half pound burger. I want a nice hefty burger. Quarter pounder is a little small for me, but I don't need to eat a half pound of meat every burger either. So I'm kind of in between. So I set it. You know, you can press one burger, check your size. If you don't like it, make your adjustment. When I make my patties, I'll do a video on my seasoning and making my hot Italian sausage patties, I'll bring this blade way down. I actually want a very thin, almost quarter-inch patty. Some might even think it's too skinny. But when you put that in a frying pan and it puffs up just a little bit from cooking, they normally turn out about the size that you're going to see in your typical, 7-Eleven or McDonald's size patty. I don't want my friend hand patties his and puts them together and says, hey, here's a sausage patty, and it's the size of a burger. I don't want a burger for breakfast. I want eggs and a skinny sausage patty, so I don't need to, actually my favorite, when it comes time, I'll try to throw up the photo, is 2 slim, hot Italian sausage patties with a dippy egg with melted cheese on top of each patty. Oh, it's a pretty picture, and it's a delicious breakfast. So we're going to get on here, and I'm going to show you actually how this all works. It's a real simple process. It's not long. And basically, you get into a rhythm. You get into a rhythm of making your patty, pulling your paper out, slapping the meat on. You'll figure out how much meat you need to scoop up. Another thing I like is one of the key parts here I want you to see on this spoon. I use metal, not plastic. Yeah, I broke a couple plastic ones, got in trouble. Don't tell anybody, especially my wife. But the other key thing about this spoon here, if you notice, are the ribs. I have used a spoon without the ribs, and what you're going to happen is you're going to have that suction. I found with the rib spoons, it's real easy to scoop the meat out, disperse the meat, and you don't get the meat caking up, sticking on that spoon on you to where you have to scoop it off with your fingers every time you want to make a patty. So metal spoon, ribs, and let's get on with making a few patties here. Are you ready? All right, let me adjust this so you can get a good view. What I do is I get a little scoop of meat out. Again, from experience, I know how much meat I need. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do first is we'll do it this way. We'll just make a patty, throw it on there. I fold the sheet over so that it's even, pretty much even on both sides. Then I'll give it just a quick squish with my hand. Bring the handle down, press it out. Look at my patty. I got a nice patty. See the thickness? Probably a little over 1/4 inch. Just have a little bit of meat on the side here. You can pull that off, or I just leave it on it. And then what I do is I stack them up on a cookie sheet. What I do is I'll lay all these out on the cookie sheet, and when I get 3 or 4 layers deep, I'll tell you what happens after that. But what I'll do, let's do another patty. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you what happens if you don't put enough meat on. Okay, I folded that over. I pressed it. But now if you look at the patty, there's a blank spot. Right here. I missed a spot. So, if that happens to you, real simple. Pull your paper back, take a little dab of meat, lay it right in the affected area, roll your paper back, press your burger. And one thing you guys can't see here because we don't have smell-o-vision is the aroma coming off of these patties is just amazing. You can smell the bourbon, the smokiness, the garlic. This plate of food is just the aroma coming off these patties is just phenomenal, and you're going to get that flavor when you cook them and when you hand them out to your friends. It's real simple. I'll just do a couple real quick to show you the motion here. How quick? Meat. Fold it over. Make a patty. Move on. Pull a sheet. Scoop of meat. Patty. Next. So this isn't a super long process. When you're making, of course, a thinner patty of sausage, it might take you a little bit extra time, but you get into a good little flow, and it won't take you long at all to go through this package of meat. 1, 2, 3. Little meat fell off. Just slap her back on. Of course, I got a clean table and clean hands. And this is homemade. Your patties don't have to look perfect. Nobody's here to judge you. Nobody's coming in to weigh your product. Again, that was really nice. That meat tried to stick with the holes in the spoon. It couldn't. One more and we'll have a full pan. If you put a little too much meat on there, when you put it down, you'll feel it. Your press is going to stop. You just stop pushing. You might get a nice thick extra heavy. There you are. If you can see them. You got 8 going here. If I arrange them a little bit, I might be able to squeeze another one in there. I'm not sure, depending on the size of your pan. We'll probably stick with 8, give them space. So what I'll do now is I'll just keep going. I'll stack these up. I'll finish my pan. I'll probably be 4 or 5 layers deep. And then what I do is I'll take these down to the freezer and I'll put them in my freezer overnight. And tomorrow they'll come out like hockey pucks. Already frozen, ready to be packaged. I'll take normally a Ziploc baggie, and it'll fit anywhere from 14 to 12 to 16, depending on your baggie and how you put them in there. I'll do maybe 2 or 3 baggies that I know I'm going to use in the next month or 2. I'll just put them in a baggie. If 2 friends come over and we want to eat some burgers, I can whip out 4 burgers. That's what's nice about these. Already individually made, already packaged, ready to go. You just pull them out, put them on the gas grill, ready to chow down. You don't even have to worry about hand patting them. You don't have to worry about mixing spices. You've done all that. That's what's so great, and what a lot of people comment on to me is the ease of the handling. They're like, wow, it was so simple. I got your meat out, I put it in a pan, or I put it on the gas grill, and we had burgers. It's like a quick meal because you didn't have to thaw out the meat. You didn't have to get your spices out or do anything special. Didn't have to get your hands dirty doing any of it or washing any dishes. And like I said, if it's you and your wife, you want 2, 3 burgers, no problem. If you got at one time 3 kids, teenagers, I'd whip out 6, 7, 8 patties and make them. Or your buddies come over, you want to watch some football, wrestling, KFC fighting. You know, as many people as there, just whip out as many patties as you need. They're already made. That's what's great about this. I really enjoy the fact that they're pre-made, pre-packaged. And what I'll do again is I'll put these down in the freezer tomorrow. I'll pull them out. I'll put some in a Ziploc baggie, ones I know I'm going to eat. Now I also know I'm going to carry mine over for almost a year. So then what I'll do with the rest of them is I'll do some in 4-packs, mark them up 4 at a time, wrap them again, saran wrap, and then freezer paper, mark it, Deer Burgers 4, maybe a 6-pack, Deer Burgers 6. Again here, if you made any of your specialty burgers, if you open my freezer now, you're going to see Deer Burgers 2 or 4. I know they're my regular ones. Open it up, it says Deer Burgers 4, Cajun. Guess what? Yeah, that's what I talked about earlier. They have Cajun seasoning. And of course, if my wife friends come up from Maryland, gotta get out the Old Bay burgers. Oh, gotta have Old Bay on everything. I think they eat Old Bay on their eggs too. Yeah, Maryland people just. I think when they give blood, it's red with Old Bay. Not that that'll hurt. I'll take it. I love Old Bay too, so I'm not gonna argue. But again, this is a simple process. Everything you see here, this is all done at home. Anybody can do this. This product, I don't know, $20 or less. These wrappers, again, probably less than $10 or $12, and there's 1,000 count. The funny part is I can't tell you how many boxes of these I've gone through. That's the funny part. 1,000 per box, and I've gone through a couple thousand. That's a lot of burgers and a lot of sausage. Delicious sausage and delicious burgers. But again, simple press, little bit of time, and you got the best burgers in the world. Hand them out to your friends. I have yet to have somebody say they don't like my pre-seasoned prepared burgers. My dad, before he passed away, rest in peace, said they were the best burgers he's ever eaten. He loved it. Every time I come over, his eyes lit up, and he was hoping I was bringing him some more burgers. And again, you can make them your own. One thing I've never done, but for people I see who make sausage, if you wanted to make that extra step, and you can make cheeseburgers. It's just as easy for me to throw a piece of cheese on the grill, but I have friends that have asked me, can you mix cheese in your meat? Yes, you can, but you do have to go out and you buy a special hardened cheese so that it doesn't melt while you're cooking it. And they smoke bologna and whatnot. There is a hardened cheese, and you probably want to put that in at this step. You might want to put your meat down, sprinkle a couple pieces of cheese on it, press it into your meat, so that when you put it on the grill, it's ready to go. But like I said, a lot simpler to just buy the cheaper cheese and throw a piece on top on the grill. And I think that's about it for my video. Hope everybody's enjoyed it. Little home processing on making your own delicious burgers. And with whatever spices you want, you can create your own. Create as many different types as you want. If you're in the heat, you want to make some jalapeno burgers, you can mix in some jalapenos, dried or fresh. I have done that in the past. Diced jalapenos and made some jalapeno burgers. They were pretty delicious. So you can call it your own. I can pretty much say every time I make them, they might have a slightly different taste because no recipe. This is backwoods redneck, sitting at the table, home deer processing, making burgers. Hope everybody enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, you can always email me or hit a like on the page. And new to YouTube, so maybe I can answer you, maybe I can't. just look forward to some more videos. Be making some how to make the spicy Italian sausage. And then one everybody's been asking for. I'm a big squirrel hunter. And after eating squirrel after squirrel many different ways, I've come up with the best way to eat squirrel. And that is I make squirrel egg rolls. 6 to 8 squirrels can produce almost 100 egg rolls. So that video is going to be coming out. I've been getting so many requests for my squirrel egg rolls that I got to take the time and the effort and produce a video on how I make squirrel egg rolls. Again, another product that it's kind of fun because you're going to shock your friends. I've had so many people say, "What is this?" I try to tell them what they're eating before they eat it. I don't want to shock anybody. Some people freak out because they don't want to eat a squirrel. Everybody else wants to taste it. They're curious. Then when they're like, "Oh my God, this is delicious." You know, I got people asking me all the time, "Can I get some of those squirrel egg rolls from you?" How many fathers out there have their kids running up to them saying, "Dad, we got a problem. We're out of squirrel." Redneck, as you can see it here. When your kids are crying because they ain't got no squirrel egg rolls, that's pretty funny. Great snack, 2 or 3 in the evening. Again, look for that video. Hope you enjoyed it all, and I'm going to complete making these burgers, finish up for tonight, get them frozen so I can wrap them up tomorrow, and my freezer will be full. Y'all have a good one.